Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we're diving into the blueprint for a truly modern, intelligent manufacturing operation. If you're an executive looking to really transform your factory, this is your guide to getting the core architecture right from the very beginning.
So, let me ask you a question. Think about your factory, with all its history, maybe decades of experience. Is information still getting passed around on Excel spreadsheets? Manual data entry, disconnected departments. If that sounds even a little familiar, you know the headaches and delays it causes. It's a really common problem, but thankfully, it's one with a very clear solution.
And the key is to make a mental shift. We need to stop thinking about software as just a bunch of separate tools. Instead, start picturing your factory as a living, breathing, interconnected body. We're not just buying software here. We are building a single, coordinated organism where every single part works in perfect harmony. And this, right here, is the most important principle of all. Honestly, you could have the best, most expensive systems in the world, but the real, game-changing value? That only gets unlocked when they all communicate seamlessly. Our goal isn't just to install software, it's to create synergy.
So with that in mind, let's meet the vital organs that make up the smart factory body. Each one has a very distinct, very critical role to play in the overall health and performance of your entire operation.
Okay, first up we have PLM, or Product Lifecycle Management. I want you to think of this as the source code of your factory's DNA. It's where it all begins. It defines the product, creating that essential genetic code, things like the bill of materials and the process routes that tells everyone else exactly what to build and how to build it.
Next, we have the ERP. This is the brain of the whole enterprise. It's the strategic command center. It's looking at the big picture, managing high-level resources like finance, sales, and inventory, and then it issues the top-level commands, like the master production orders that get everything rolling.
Now here's where it gets really interesting. How do the brain's plans actually turn into action on the ground? Well, that is the job of the MES, the Manufacturing Execution System. It's the central nervous system. It takes those high-level orders from the ERP and translates them into real-time, step-by-step actions, monitoring every single thing happening on the factory floor.
Of course, the factory floor is useless without materials. That's where the WMS, or Warehouse Management System, comes in. This system acts as the hands and feet of the operation. It manages all the logistics, making absolutely sure the right materials get to the right place at exactly the right time. No more costly delays waiting for parts.
So, who coordinates the daily rhythm of it all? That would be the APS, or the Advanced Planning and Scheduling System. This is the master scheduler. It's incredibly smart. It looks at all the constraints, your machines, your materials, your people, to create the most efficient daily plan possible, telling the MES who does what and precisely when they do it.
And finally, we have the system that protects the entire organism, the QMS, or Quality Management System. This is basically the factory's immune system. It makes sure quality standards are met at every step, from raw materials all the way to finished goods. It's what protects your quality, your reputation, and ultimately, your bottom line.
All right, so now that we've met all the individual organs, let's talk about the magic. Let's see how they actually work together. Because it's in this constant, automated conversation between all these systems that the true intelligence of a smart factory really comes to life.
I mean, this really shows you the choice you have to make. Over on the left, you've got the old way. Information is trapped in these little silos. That leads to disconnected processes and, you guessed it, slow decisions. But on the right, that's the smart factory. Information just flows seamlessly, which automates processes and empowers you to make fast, data-driven decisions. It's a night and day difference. So let's look at how this data conversation actually creates value. It starts when PLM sends the bill of materials over to the ERP. Right there, you've enabled accurate planning for every single component. Then, the ERP sends a production order down to the MES. That's the green light for work to begin. Now, this is the really cool part. The MES is constantly feeding progress and material usage back to the ERP. This gives you incredible real-time visibility into your costs and completion rates. This kind of closed-loop communication, especially between systems like the APS, MES, and WMS, is exactly what makes the factory so nimble and efficient.
Okay, I know this might seem like a lot. It can feel pretty complex, but here's the good news. You don't have to build it all at once. The smart way to do this is with a strategic phased growth plan. This isn't some massive, risky project. It's a manageable journey of digital transformation.
And here's what that roadmap looks like. It all starts with Phase 0, planning. You have to unify your data standards first. Then Phase 1, you build the foundation with ERP and PLM. The goal here is to get your master data clean and reliable. Only then do you move to execution. In Phase 2, you start small. Launch MES on just a single pilot line to prove the value and work out the kinks. After that success, you move to Phase 3, optimization, adding in WMS and APS. And finally, Phase 4 is the full integration, rolling it out everywhere and adding business intelligence for deep analytics.
So, the guiding principle through all of this is so important. Overall planning, phased implementation. You need to have that complete, big-picture vision right from the start, but you execute it in smart, manageable stages. This approach maximizes your value and minimizes your risk at every single step of the way. All right, let's wrap this up with some direct, actionable advice, specifically for the decision makers out there, to make sure your transformation is a huge success. These are the key takeaways for any executive who's leading this kind of change. Here are 5 hard-won lessons for getting this right. Number 1, build your data foundation first with PLM and ERP. Clean, reliable data is absolutely non-negotiable. 2, sync your tech plan with your tool plan. The best software in the world can't fix outdated machinery. 3, choose vendors who really get your specific industry, not just technology in general. 4, and this is a big one, budget for integration. Set aside 15 to 25% just for creating those data bridges. That's the connective tissue that makes the magic happen. And finally, number 5, prove the value early. Use that pilot line approach to get a quick win, build momentum, and get buy-in across the whole organization.
You know, in the end, it all comes back to this one idea. The brain, the source, the hub. Each organ has its essential role to play. No single system can do it all, and none of them can be missing from the picture. They have to be planned together from day one to create a single, intelligent, and incredibly effective organism, your smart factory of the future. Really, the question isn't whether you can afford to do this, but how much longer you can afford not to.